And we're back. Part 3, last video. So picking up where we left off, so Che does this elaborate thing at some club where she wants Miranda to meet her grandmothers, on both sides of, her cultural background, half Irish, half Mexican. And, she starts singing. She takes 2 shots of some tequila, and then she starts singing, I wish they could all be California girls. And Miranda's dumbfounded, like, what's going on? What is happening? And side note, why? I don't know if this was an actress, if this was Cynthia Nixon's choice, or if it was the wardrobe. And again, if you see the documentary, you can see that they took their time to pick certain pieces and make sure that it made sense to the story. But what was this salmon color weirdo thing that Cynthia Nixon Miranda walks in to the club? You look like her third grandmama. Like, what? Why? Who picked this? And I get it that she's doing the whole mature look with the gray, but there's plenty of women out here wearing gray and they don't look like nobody's grandmama. So I don't know what that is. Yeah, so I know plenty of ladies who have gone gray, like the gray mature look, but they will pair it off, so that it looks nice, and their wardrobe looks contemporary. But this dress was not it. It's like, where'd you get this dress? Anyway, Che sings this horrible song. She has chops though, but it's just like so tacky. To break the news, or maybe perhaps celebrate that she's been offered a pilot to do her own sitcom in Hollywood. Hollywood has come a-knocking, and she's so ecstatic that she wanted to share the news with all the people that she loves, including Miranda. Now Miranda's like, oh, she has this face like somebody burst her bubble. And but then Che, you would think that, like, well, this was it for their relationship, but Che makes it known to Rambo, as her pet name for her, that she would like Miranda to basically drop her life to go in pursuit of her career. Come with me. They're going to be filming. I'm going to be away for months, and we're going to shoot the pilot. So all of a sudden she's like elated, and she's like, yes. And it's like as if she's totally forgotten her own life. I guess past Steve, there's nobody else, who you have to answer to. Mind you, isn't your kid still 17 years old? Okay, he's close to being 18, but don't you care if the kid goes to college? What happened here? What happened here? And Miranda, for the most part, she's been always like the more level-headed one. So I don't understand where she's just like, are you going through a midlife crisis, girl? What is going on? Maybe it's typical to see it of men but never of women. Maybe that's what they're trying to kind of get at here. I don't know what happened with Miranda's character here. I don't. And I think this is shared across the board, on Instagram, probably on YouTube, and on Twitter, and I don't know, and I'm not blaming this on Cynthia Nixon. She's only going based on what is written on the page, but you have made Miranda's character loathsome. She was already nasty, and I think I already expressed that in the last episode when she was going to break it to Steve that she was blowing up their whole marriage. And she was just yelling at him, and then that's it. It's like, okay, is she still living in the same house with Steve? Are they living, amicably under the same roof? Why isn't there tension between her son? Perhaps he's like, well, whatever, she lets me do whatever I want, so she could do whatever she wants with her life. But doesn't it bother you? Your parents are divorcing, and mostly because of your mom's choices. I don't understand. And again, they only have 10 episodes, so they can't fit everything in one season. If they get a second season, y'all need to put some elbow grease into that next season, because a lot of things were left, you know, like there's so many loopholes here. I don't even know where to begin. And please bring back the fun. I get it, they're maturing, but the Golden Girls were more fun to watch. They have more an active sex life than these women. And look, I get it. We're getting the perspective that we didn't get with the Golden Girls, right? Nearly all the characters in the Golden Girls had gone through loss. So this is our first time in seeing this perspective, but it was such a downer. We're going already through enough with COVID and a bunch of other worries, and now, you know, you made these characters, these beloved characters, so depressing, and it's so depressing to get older that we just didn't even care to watch anymore. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm a hardcore fan, but it really just wasn't. There were some really high points. You did a great job with inclusion. Unfortunately, though, it felt too forced and it felt almost like phony. It didn't come off across as genuine. Just like this relationship with Shay and Miranda, it does not feel like there's actual chemistry there. You're just like, you wrote it in because you needed something like that. You needed some kind of representation for you know, people of color in the series, and for that you are applauded. Yes, it's about time that these ladies knew more than just themselves, but or just their race, but make it more organic, please, because it just feels forced now. Now it's like checking off the checkbox, and then it just doesn't feel like these relationships are genuine. Steve, unfortunately, he just disappears. We don't know much about him after that whole thing, and it broke my heart, honestly, when he was helping Carrie find her ring in the drain. You know, I know he had his infidelities, but again, he made an effort, or was trying to make an effort. And he just, like, you know, but he was honest. He had an honest moment with Miranda. It's like, I'm just tired of rallying for us, and can you blame him? You know, Miranda's character comes off really flighty, flaky, and just egocentric, all about her. And it's like, girl. Anyway, and then as we move on, and Carrie decides what she's going to do with Big's ashes, because his brother, you know, was wondering what were they going to do with the remains. Again, we get another reminder about getting older, because here she thought that her brother, Big's brother, was going through bouts of dementia. She's like, what are you talking about? What do you mean? Where is he? And like, she thought that she had to break it to him again, and maybe he's having issues with his memory. And he was like, no, I'm okay. I just want to know where his remains are, because we have a crypt or a mausoleum or something, and we can, you know, put him there, and if you would like, we could put you there, and you could be together forever. Again, depressing, and I get it, we're still dealing with her loss, but jeez. And here's another issue too that I will say that I noted was, now the show's caught between a rock and a hard place, because there are sequences where I'm sure they shot Sarah Jessica Parker with Chris Noth playing Big, and now it doesn't make sense to the story, because they had to cut him out because of all the allegations and the heat that he's under, because we don't know what's happened in his personal life, that now the show is suffering because there's certain sequences that don't make sense. It just looks like Carrie's talking to herself with the lamp, right? The lamp issue. These instances of dreams where she just like suddenly wakes up. She wants to go to Paris. There are instances where she's in Paris. We'll get into that later, but she's like talking to herself. It's weird. And then also, while we're at the bar mitzvah, right? Charlotte decides to do a bar mitzvah for Rose. She decides to do a bar mitzvah for Rose. Rose now turned Rock, who wants to go by Rock, and so they got them a non-traditional rabbi, because everybody else who was a traditionalist was bailing. They just didn't want to involve themselves. And I liked this particular actress, that she was transgender, I thought she was funny. She really knew her marks, and she made up her presence known, even though her character wasn't as big. But I think she brought something that to me was more genuine than all these other relationships that they've tried to kind of like shove down our throats. Um, and yeah, Rock decides that they don't want to even participate. They don't see themselves as anything. They don't want to be identified as anything. Teenage woes, we get it. And Lily too, going through her period, learning how to put on a tampon. Oh Lord, it was really too much. Not that I have anything issues with period or period blood, or menstruating, or even menopause, but it was just. And this is no shade to the actresses that played her daughters, but they wrote them both so obnoxious. And perhaps because they're well to do, but they're just so spoiled, and it made for them to be also loathed. Again, there were wins, but there were a lot of misses in this series. So they have a moment of honesty when they're left alone, Carrie and Miranda. Miranda tells her about her craziness, what she wants to do. Side note, too, Miranda also confesses to Naya, her professor, that she developed such a great relationship with that, yeah, thanks for the recommendation, which are hard to come by, okay? You've never worked in a particular field when it comes to, like, what is it, social justice and whatnot, and here you are, what's the word? You're willing to forgo her recommendations, her her grades, and the path that she was already going towards, which was to become, I think, a social activist lawyer, something along those lines. That is not an easy task, to forgo all that so that she can go on some crazy whim behind to California. And even her professor's like, you sure? And that was not an easy task for me to even get you into some law firm, prestigious law firm, where she would have been interning during the summer. She's like willing to yeah, but I'm following my heart. Whatever. She tells Carrie, and Carrie tells her the same thing. Like, what are you gonna do? You gonna go behind Che and after Che and be sitting in the audience to be laughing for hours? What are you gonna do? What are you doing for yourself? And she's like, can I change? But again, here's the thing about her character for this, at least this season. She's always been obnoxious, and she's one of those friends that will tell you doesn't have any opposition to tell you the truth, to be frank with you, right? To put it all on the table. She's always been a little bit too much of a bitch. But she's always been level-headed. I've never seen this Miranda where she just loses complete conscious of what she's doing just in pursuit of anyone. She's never been this way, not even when she was in her 20s. So she even admits that, can I change? But hey, you know what? You were really sarcastic when Carrie thought that she was seeing big through her lamp. The least you could have done is been understanding. She made her look stupid and ridiculed her and said, oh, are we believing in that? In the afterlife and heaven? Are we believing in the Easter Bunny too? Come on, girl. You know you were out of line in saying that. But not for nothing, this is where Samantha Jones would have interjected and would have said some snide, or double entendre, and it would have been the comedic relief. But we are missing Kim Cattrall's character. We are missing Samantha. Because probably these three hookers have been annoying for over, I don't know, 2 decades. And we didn't notice that till now because Kim isn't there. Kim is an important part of Sex and the City. So they come to some agreement where it's fine. Carrie will go by herself, and not for nothing. Wasn't it a little messed up that she was willing to pay the trips of Charlotte and Miranda to come with her? And once Miranda kind of makes it known it's going to be a little messy and a little bit whatever, but she was still willing to make it work. Carrie tells her to stay. Just stay in Los Angeles. Do what you got to do. I'll go alone. And then Charlotte's like, oh, like I don't think she took it super personal. And as we saw in the first few episodes, Charlotte can be a bit much. But it's known that like basically Carrie can't deal with Charlotte alone. That's a big slap in your face. Like after how many years of friendship, you can't deal with me alone. But whatever. She goes, and she thought it was. I mean, it just made sense to spread Big's ashes over that beautiful Parisian bridge where he goes in pursuit of her in the last episode of the last season of Sex and the City. And I don't think he pops he doesn't pop the question for marriage, but he does insist on them rekindling their relationship and coming back to New York. And that's when we finally learn Big's true name of John. So, but it's a very beautiful, endearing moment, and that's how they signed off for that particular season. And it's sentimental. It's a very sentimental tearjerker moment when she's in this beautiful tangerine orange cream dress, really puffy. I don't have the puff. I have this nice shawl. And then these pink gloves. Now, my pink gloves are pretty and satiny, and I thought it would match perfect with my nice pink ensemble. But her pink gloves were leather, and they look like dish dishwasher gloves. Like, I don't know, it was not a good choice. The dress was, the bun, the accessories, that beautiful Eiffel Tower purse where she had Big's ashes, and she spreads them over the nice little creek or river that they have there. But the gloves were just too much. They looked like she was about to take out the spick and span or something, or she was gonna scrub her tub. Like, it was it was bad choice. Sorry, wardrobe department, it was a bad choice. Nonetheless, she comes back. Oh, and then there's an instance where she sends a text to Samantha Jones. And there's been these instances where they've been like, giving each other little conversations. I guess they meet up for drinks. We are not 100% sure. Perhaps the writers are doing it to leave the door open in case Kim does decide to come back. She is needed. That's what I will say. She is needed to save the show. And so Carrie comes back. And her producer is like left hanging too from Che's ill-fated podcast, which I still don't understand why she couldn't do both. I don't know why Che just decides to bail on the podcast, leaving poor Jackie, because remember, it was a trio: Carrie, Jackie, and Che. Jackie looks like he needs a job. Jackie looks like he's about to go on unemployment, and he just got married to his partner Smoke. Why did they give her that name? I don't know why. The producer's left dangling too, but he insists that Carrie would be better fitted for her own show, and that he's willing to produce it. And so we hear Carrie pick up a call, and it's not necessarily a happy call, but she leaves her with a bit of advice, good or bad, and then ends her podcast with the tag for her new podcast, Sex and the City. And I don't remember necessarily. I think her column when she was writing for the newspaper was titled Sex and the City, but I think we've never really necessarily heard it. We knew that was the title of the show, but we never actually heard Carrie ever utter the words. And then we leave you with Sex and the City. Not even her own books were titled Sex and the City. But nonetheless, if this is an indication for a season 2, please bring back the fun and please bring back the sex, because it is needed. Let's bring back some SEMA. I want to see more SEMA. What happened with that hot guy with the club? We need to see that. What exactly does happen with Miranda and Che? And poor Steve, man. You can't do this. You got to give that man justice. Don't leave him like this. You know? And yeah, we do need Samantha Jones back. We just do. All right, y'all. All I will say, though, those were the last 2 episodes, wins and misses. The one thing I will say, yes, there were some great choices. Not all of them were bad choices in terms of fashion. That tangerine dress, oh, it's beautiful. And their soundtrack. Um, I will list the music that you've been hearing in the background in the description box, but this one in particular I loved. It was an R&B. I'm an R&B girl, and I'm not one of these trap people. I just can't get into it, sorry. But this is by Victoria Monet, called Experience, with Khalid and S.G. Lewis. Really nice. So stay tuned, y'all. I have a couple of more impending reviews I got coming up for this Valentine's weekend. I might review movies and shows that are not your traditional rom-coms for Valentine's Day. Maybe I might review some bromance films. We'll see. But stay tuned for that. If you like what you see, give us a like. Leave us a comment down below. If you want to continue to see my videos, hit the subscription button and the notification button so you can be alerted of my next video. So stay tuned, y'all. And again, here we are with my nice cupcakes, my nice little, my little cupcake table, which I almost dropped that one. I gotta be set prop master, wardrobe mistress from a channel, but hey. And according to my love meter, honey, for this season, remember, there are 4 choices here. I prefer my pets. I guess you'll do XOXO and Be Mine. The last 2 episodes, honey, it goes all the way down. It just was not, it was a miss. I prefer my pets. I prefer my pets. If I had to watch these last 2 episodes, I would prefer watching my pets. So, get a revamp, y'all. Y'all need Samantha Jones back. But I hope you like my set decorations. And yes, get yourself a nice glass of wine and champagne. Cheers to amore. Until my next video, y'all. Look, I finished my XOXO. You see it's painted. $1.25, y'all. In comparison to Target's 11 and change. So stay tuned for my impending reviews, y'all.